Well, it might come as a bit of a shock to some people, but Australia, as per head capita, we would be the greatest inventors and innovators in the world. And things we've invented in this country have fortified and advanced the rest of the world. We can start with the latest thing I've just seen this week, where a person in Victoria has invented, when you store fruit, you've either got to use chemicals or freeze it. This man's invented a machine, and it's in a pipe about that big and about that round. And what happens with apples, they exude ethanol or ethylene, I just forget what they exude, and that's what sends them off. So they put chemicals with it. Pears don't last very long and they have shrinkage. Well, this fella's come up with this invention. You don't have to have any chemicals whatsoever, and this will preserve for 12 months in a controlled environment, in a cool room. The pears don't shrink at all. The best shrinkage percentage you can get is 16%, and they don't last. There's zero with this machine. That's one thing they've come up with. Just recently. Do you think we're going to get someone to do that? They'll say no. The Shepparton Preserving Company, SMP, down in Shepparton, I've been there numerous times. They had a machine down there that could extract 8 types of oil out of the apricot kernel. One type of that oil, could help cancer victims. They did everything to send the company broke, but the workers took reductions in pay and everything else and kept it going. But alas, what did they do? Lima Declaration, here it is here, how we've got to give the rest of the world a share of everything. They've imported fruit at a cheaper rate from the Middle East and Turkey and everywhere else. Our farmers can't compete. They plough in all their fruit. When the employment factor down there, they've built machinery, repaired it and everything else. The canneries, made their own canneries, everything else, all gone. So you can see with our innovations and our inventions and our industry, how many industries are attached to rural industries. Australia invented the postage stamp. Hugh Victor Mackay with the grain stripper, and then that was updated by Hedley Taylor, and he made the combine harvester. William Braithwaite Clark in 1841, a geologist and a surveyor, and he was a minister, surveyed all down the east coast of Australia, because Captain Cook learnt off the Aborigines they got burning rock. What the Aborigines called the burning rock was coal. He found all the coal deposits on the east coast of Australia, gold out of Sofala and everywhere else. Also, the shale oil that's up here at Lithgow. Australian Invention found $22 trillion worth of shale oil last year in South Australia. 22 trillion. Could make Australia a oil export country. 22 trillion. And that's only small compared to the one near Lithgow. Ashbro was invented in Australia. The rotary hoe for gardening, the Howard rotary hoe, invented in Australia in 1912. The utility, that's the world's biggest seller. A farmer in Australia, once again, the innovation and intuitiveness of Australian farm, invented the utility. It was a Ford. Cut the back out of the car, put a thing in it, made a ute, run around the farm. What's the biggest seller in the world of the vehicles in the world? The biggest seller of the world is Ford F100 utes. No other vehicle can get near it for numbers. Where did that invention come from? Australia. The old machine gun. The bloke invented it, he was in jail. They let him out. It can work underwater. What saved us up in the Old Stanley? Old machine gun. Australian invention. We had the Lithgow Small Arms Factory, we had St Mary's, we had, haven't got that anymore. We'll export all that because the Lima Declaration says we've got to share the our industries with the rest of the world. But America, Japan, Germany, UK, France, Belgium, they didn't sign it, but us dopes here did via Gough Whitlam and Malcolm Fraser. So we've got no defence personnel now. The disposable syringe. They're fancy someone with the machine gun. Like the Americans couldn't get over it. It's wet. Works. As Australia, another innovation. What happens, ladies and gentlemen, we can't go through everything because we'll be here till eternity because of everything we've done here and the spin-offs from all these industries. We'll be still in another 10 years' time talking about it. I've seen round Rosebery, I live in Rosebery, I've seen round Rosebery and Mascot machinery companies making lathes, drills, shapers, everything. We had our own iron foundry. All of that was obliterated. Inventions. There's a certain clutch, you call it an over-centre cam lock clutch that can run conveyor belts and you can just click it in, click it out, click it in, click it out. A company in Rosebery called Nuttall Engineering invented it. They also invented what you call a variable speed transmission. That's not what goes in a car, that goes on machinery. Because we had a shortage of machinery and they used to have overhead big pulleys and belt-driven machinery, and that machine would go there to a drive and you'd have a variable speed. So as you know, big to a little gives a fast speed, little to big gives a slow speed. And you could vary it down to 2 revolutions a minute with this variable speed transmission. The over-centre clutch, the inventiveness of a fellow called Dick Nuttall. When the war came, all the patents were gone. The hemp, just recently, in the last few years, a fellow invented a hemp thrashing machine down in Victoria. He was a doctor. Now, as you know, hemp goes back to the Egyptian time. They can get building materials out of clothing material, medicine, everything out of hemp. So he went to the government and said, oh no, John Howard, we can't do that. It would send the wrong message to people we're growing hemp. Like they think it's the wacky tobacco, but it's not the wacky tobacco, it's different. We don't have it. Where did it go? Elsewhere. So what do? We import the stuff now. We have it here, so we export it and go back. We've got more bauxite than anyone else in the world. That's aluminium. So what do? We export the bauxite over there to give them a share through the Libre Declaration, the United Nations, you know, the communist organisation that's organised it all. Well, you give your job away to that bloke over there, but then you can live off the crumbs of a rich man's table. So we export that, bring it back. There's a bloke in Gladesville, Bishop Power Steering. He makes all the power steering for the cars, and he makes the machinery. They can't do it. He exports it all around the world. I don't know if you've ever seen the concrete agitators. The agitator goes around mixing up the thing. They used to have pumps up the front of the truck to drive the agitator. When they had an accident, oil would go there, so they were banned. This fella came up with an ingenious idea. Normally what happens, you've got to have a power take-off on your gearbox of your truck to work the agitator, so the gearbox has got to be engaged, which can cause a problem. So this fella's organised a pump and a gear mechanism to work off the flywheel of the engine. So the truck can be in neutral, locked all up, everything works. The disposable syringe, that was invented by the Rose family. Now look what that did for medicine. Look what Fred Hollows has done. What about the black box that's used everywhere in the world? The black box recorder in the planes to organise all documentation if anything's wrong in the plane. Look, invented here. There's a fella up in Queensland, when we were talking about the machine gun, invented a machine gun like a big square box, and it shot out a wall of bullets that could bring down a rocket. That could have been manufactured here. It's used everywhere. Got rid of that too. Why I'm saying this, all these industries, we can make industries. And the piece de resistance is what we did. Jack Brabham. There's no one in the world will ever be able to equal what Jack Brabham did. He's the only man in the world that's had a Grand Prix car, and as you know, Grand Prix in Europe, they build industries like Ferrari, Maserati, Lamborghini, Lancia, Mercedes-Benz. Look at the industries and they're all F1, Formula 1 cars. So Jack Brabham invented his own car with Laurie and Ozzy Tyronack, an Australian. They said it would never work, and he won the manufacturers' drivers' championship and the world drivers. Only man in the world to ever do it. No one will ever do it. Based on the block of a Holden. There's another fella, a bloke called Ken Warby, with the assistance of the naval apprentice architects down at the Flinders Naval Base, created the world water speed record of 511 mile an hour. No one will ever break it. We've got people, there's the apprentices. and he built it on a $70,000 budget. There's the apprentices helping that man, and he was the first bloke with a wing keel, but it was a fixed wing keel. 511 mile an hour. Now you would think that we've got an industry with Jack Brabham started, and he started his speedway career in Sydney with what was a Harley Davidson motorbike of 8 horsepower, and they make their own barrels, own cylinders, own heads, flywheels, everything, and transformed that to 120 horsepower, and they beat the might of the American geniuses of Offenhauser. They couldn't get near him. So we've got Jack Brabham doing that. We've got all the other things. Just that's an infinitesimal amount. What I've said to you about our inventors and our innovation, infinitesimal to what we've done. Our glass manufacturing was a first. Now, so when you think that we could have had all these industries surrounded because of what they've done here, we've made the first ice making machine. We've first paid the windscreen wiper in the car was invented in Australia. The bloke that invented was a tram driver. So when you think what we've got here, do you ever see it in the paper? No. Do you know why? Because the big banksters don't want you to know anything about that, and the International Monetary Fund direct our Treasury direct our politicians, and the politicians suppress the information, and the press don't want to talk about it because they're donkeys. And we've got it here. We've still got them. We've still got them. There's a bloke with the apple thing just recently. The fishing in Tasmania, the hemp machine. They're just recent ones. What about all the ones we've had before? What's wrong with the public? Have got to wake up.